Hello, game devs. Let's talk about classroom expectations, specifically my expectations around respect for your fellow students. That's the core message that I want to get across is that we all are here for different reasons. But in terms of cost, I think right now the tuition is each class that you come to, if you're a full-time student, costs about $3,500 a semester. That's an incredible amount of money. And for only about 150 hours worth of work and or exposure. Most classes are expecting about 10 hours a week worth of your work or worth of your time. And that's including classroom time. So, for our studio classes, that's 6 hours in class and 4 hours outside of class. That's pretty much standard, and the expectation for all the homeworks that we're giving out and how we're kind of grading, how we're kind of scaling the work. So what I mean by respect is that since we're, all coming here and we're paying a lot of money to learn something, we need to use the classroom time effectively and try to do the things that we can't do on video. So this is why I'm recording videos for you all to kind of get set up so I can move these kind of tasks outside of the classroom. And it's my expectation that you watch all these videos. It's my expectation that you watch it from beginning to end. So let's just talk about a few other elements that we need to look at. Specifically, no phones. For most people, there are chat programs on your computer. I know that you could potentially use a chat program if you really needed to communicate with someone. But in general, no phones. I suggest you take it out of your pocket, and I suggest you put it in your bag or you put it on the desk behind your laptop screen, because when that buzz goes off in your pant pocket, it's everyone's first nature, even mine, just to go for it and pull it out, and you don't even realize what you're doing. So don't tempt yourself. No phones. The reason for this is because it's distracting to other students, and that's basically the theme of the day, which is please don't distract other students if you're going to be in class. My job is partially to make sure that we foster an atmosphere of good study habits and of academic rigor. To do that, we need to be working on the things that we're working on in class. And even though there are potentially times where you could be using your phone, it's turned out to be a little bit harder of a rule to enforce when it's like, oh, don't use your phones for personal purposes and just for the official stuff, for Googling or whatever. Like, I whip out my phone when I want to find something out. Just use your laptop and develop new habits, and don't pull your phone out. If you do, you'll be asked to leave as well. Want reference dates? One of the things that people always ask me is, when is this due? Check the syllabus. The syllabus is linked off of Blackboard, but and you'll see in Blackboard that there are assignments in there, but they're all due at the end of the semester. That's because Blackboard is only for grade tracking. Do not hand in homework in Blackboard, except for specific instances, which will be called out in the syllabus or during the assignment. But Blackboard is only for handing in grades and for getting those grades back to you, so that you can keep track of them in one place. But we've found that Blackboard's not suitable for handing in homework assignments. There's some bandwidth issues, and it's a clunky interface. It takes a long time to do things. And then we're managing multiple sources of information. So the syllabus is where it's at. The Google Drive document that I've shared with you all, that's linked off of that. All hail the syllabus. So, if you need to take an important call or text, that's okay. Step into the hallway. Everyone's an adult. That goes for the bathroom too. Some people ask me for, if they can go to the bathroom. I don't care. You can pee when you want. Just don't do it in the classroom, please. just step in the hallway. That's what, if you're an adult in the video game industry and, something comes up and there's an emergency, you step out, you come back in, it's all good. And that's why it's also important to log into the Discord server and talk to your classmates and exchange information so that, if these things happen, then you can handle them. Feedback is participation. So what you need to do is you need to show up with work. You need to be able to bring something in that's different from the last time you worked on it. So that means incremental work every week. It doesn't mean doing everything at once right at the last second. And that's going to be a habit that's very hard for a lot of people to change. So I understand that this is a learning process for a lot of you, but you need to be making incremental work so that we can see progress every week and we can make course corrections. Giving feedback. It's extremely important that you all give feedback to each other. And it is part of your participation grade, which is a large part of your grade, to give feedback to one another during feedback sessions. Typically, I ask people to bring out a piece of paper so that everyone can write down their feedback and we can kind of have a diligent tracking of it. But I find that it is disrespectful. I know this sounds weird, but it's disrespectful not to give feedback. It's rude. And it's a weird thing to think of, like, oh, well, I'm not giving my opinion, and maybe my opinion's a little frustrating to hear for that person. And we all need to work on giving feedback in an appropriate and measured response that is hopefully fact-based. But it is important that you personally give feedback, because video games especially, they're weird, right? Like, everyone takes something different away from a video game. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it. Sometimes people get confused at different parts. And when I was in the video game industry, we all had a rule that we would quote unquote poke holes in our game design, because who isn't our friend? The reviewer. The reviewer and the customer, once the game is out there and it's out on Steam Marketplace, it's, being reviewed by real people, and they don't care about your feelings. And they're going to be real mean if there's something obvious that someone early on could have pointed out to them. So it's very disrespectful not to give feedback consistently and often to our fellow classmates. Now, feedback may not always be integrated, and that's totally fine. You don't have to take every piece of feedback and do the thing they say. And that's part of listening to feedback. But it's a really important skill, and it's something I want to impress upon you that you need to do for each other. And honestly, that's where your money's going, is the classroom experience. My feedback and your classmates' feedback are one of the things that you have that is different from someone trying to learn how to work on games at home by using YouTube videos. It's also really helpful, when you're in a group setting. You can do a lot of interesting board games or multiplayer games. There's a lot more you can do with it. So yeah. Another thing you really need to do is contribute to the discussion. So we're going to have classroom discussions, and it's important for you to say something about the topic. I'm expecting you to contribute. There are people who have a lot of trouble contributing, and I understand that. That's okay. We have that Discord channel as well. That's a way to record written feedback on the discussion. And, if you're feeling extremely shy, stick your comment in the Discord channel, and maybe we'll keep it up during discussion, and we can read them off as well. But it's important to contribute to the discussion, because that conversation is what really gets your game design muscles flexed. Those kind of communication methods, you being able to discuss a video game of any kind, is a really valuable skill. So we're working on those communication skills. And I'm not going to probably call you out during discussions if you're quiet, but just know that that's part of your participation and you will be marked down for it if you don't contribute. I'll try to give you a heads up if I notice that you're being quiet, but generally, I'm pretty much, I like to say things once and then make sure that you all follow along. But if you have questions or if you're feeling really uncomfortable, let me know. I'll try to help out and I'll try to include you in the conversation in a natural way that makes you feel comfortable. So we're hoping for good and lively discussion. As a personal note, one of the ways I figured out I wanted to be a game designer is I used to talk for hours and hours. We used with my older brother when we used to play a game called EverQuest. And we used to go through EverQuest, be like, oh, what if this was changed, or what was this different? Maybe we can make the gameplay better or more fair if this happened. And we played a PvP server, so a player versus player server. So there's a lot of unfairness going on. It was not a very balanced game. Lots of places to learn from. But those discussions, late into the night, which kept our mother up sometimes and she would yell at us, we would be discussing those things all the time. And that's when I started figuring out, that maybe game design was for me. So as there are no phones, there's also no off-topic screens. I use Facebook sometimes during my work process to search for things or to look up an article. I use Google, where video game websites are often littered with a lot of pop-up-y ads and or visuals and videos. So, and we play video games in class too. So off-topic means things that don't have to do with the class. Okay, so I don't want to see off-topic screens in general. Try not to be on Facebook, etc. I would expect to be able to walk over and ask you, "Hey, what are you doing on Facebook?" And you should be able to respond just naturally with a real, truthful answer about the reason why Facebook is important. But to your classroom at that moment, maybe you posted a picture of it or a build to your Facebook wall, right? So there are reasons to be on there, but generally, just try to stay on topic. This includes other classroom homework. All of us faculty notice when other homeworks are being done in class that are our classes. And our response is always, well, are you doing our homework in the other class? So keep on topic. And this includes even classes between things that I teach. If you're taking 2 or more of my classes, I'm not really interested in having you working on other homework from other classes while there's opportunities to participate in the one that you're on now. So just no off-topic screens, and generally people are pretty good about that. And this is just a normal setup on a normal workday when we're working together. But also on demo days, please face the desks towards the projector, your laptop screens facing me. If the tables are not arranged that way, please arrange them so. But please organize them so that everyone is facing the projector screen. The reason for that is not to be a nanny at all, although I will be able to see all your screens and very easily be able to tell when people aren't doing stuff. The reason is because it's kind of irritating, not irritating like in a bad way, just it's kind of cumbersome, I should say, to walk around the table and like look around people's desks. And I can see everyone's laptop and where they are. And it helps me keep the right pace so that I don't lose people during the lecture. Or I could just yell over like, oh, hey, Danny, just click on that thing on the right. You're just missing it or whatever. Because sometimes people are just stuck or whatever. And I want to make sure that everyone is following along or the most people are following along as possible. So I think that's about it. If there are questions, you can always email me. If there are always concerns, you can email me. But those are my classroom expectations, and hopefully you'll be realize that it's not a very serious thing. I just would love it if we could all give due respect to each other for trying to learn something really difficult. This is cutting edge stuff. Video game development as a practice did not exist 25 years ago. And, I didn't go to school for it. I went to school for electronic media arts and communications. But that was about it. So I will see you in class.